Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Miller. I'm Gear Up Site Director at Orrville High School, and I am here on an edition of the wellness video on talking about mental health and relationships. And I have with me Joann Peterson, and she is the counselor here at Orrville Junior Senior High. And we're going to be asking her some questions, and she's going to be giving us some great information on how to not just make our bodies well, but our minds well, and things we can do when they're not. So, Mrs. Peterson, first question. What are some things that a person can do to make sure that they have a good mental health state of being?
I think there's some basic things that you can do, starting off with things like following routine, getting up in the morning, making sure you're taking a shower regularly, eating right, getting a little bit of exercise. And when I say exercise, you don't have to spend hours working out in the gym. Being able to just go and get the mail, walk outside a little bit, get some sunshine, those things just helps promote your overall health.
Great. What are some things you can do if you find yourself really struggling? Those are great things to do to start out and to help make sure that you have good mental health. But what if you do those things and you're still finding yourself, having bad thoughts or, not wanting to get out of bed?
So one of the primary things you can do, and some students feel more comfortable with it than others, is journaling. And the idea behind journaling is that you're able to reflect on your day and see what's actually happening to you throughout the day. So are you getting up? Are you following that routine? Are you eating healthy? Are you doing some of the basic things? Do you have healthy relationships in your life? So journaling is a way that you can kind of identify where you're hitting and missing on those like hot button topics throughout the day. But also I think it's important that if you're not feeling your best, that you can go out and seek help. Maybe, right? So there's some counseling, there's mental health options, but even going to a friend that you trust and being able to talk to them about what you're going through. So maybe they're going to be identifying, hey, you're actually staying up all night because you're really stressed about this one class, or maybe you're having a boyfriend issue and so that's keeping you up, and you're going to be able to identify really quickly, hey, I'm not getting enough sleep to get through my day in a nice way. Maybe it's your job that's providing all of this stress for you. So maybe is this the right job for you? So journaling and being able to reflect on your time gives you valid information on what your life is actually looking like and the things that you're enjoying and that you're not enjoying.
Those are great. What about physical activity and sunlight?
So really important, this is a very common mental health practice, right? If you are sitting alone in the dark by yourself, you are likely to feel very negative and you might be feeling down and depressed. Your thoughts might go a little crazy. You might be having thoughts of like, I don't want to get out of bed. I'm really, really tired. Those are natural indicators just from being alone in the dark. So when you get out and get some exercise and get some sunshine, you automatically will feel a lift just naturally. It's a physiological response that promotes your overall mental health.
I want to put my 2 cents in there. My students know from my videos that I started yoga a little bit before the quarantine, and I continued to do yoga, and it's 30 minutes of the day where I can take time out for my physical well-being, for my mental well-being. I can clear my mind. I can reflect on the day. It just helps me reset myself. And it's true. The yoga gal that I watch, she talks about when you do certain poses, your mind automatically kicks in these endorphins, and this happens, whether you know it or not. It's uplifting. It's a great advice. All right, so what to do if you've done all of that and you are still struggling? What are some places that some professional help ideas?
So it really depends on where you live. If you're staying in the Oroville area or Okanagan County, our go-to mental health service organization is Okanagan Behavioral Health Care. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. You can just give them a call. They will give you an appointment time and walk you through the process. If you're not comfortable with their agency organization, there are private providers. And how you're going to find those is to go through your local health department. So let's say even you move away from here, you go to a new city, and you're not sure what services are there, what's available. Your local health department, DSHS, they have a list of services that are available in the area for the overall population. If you're going to be on a college campus, there's admissions. Online, you're going to be able to see there's mental health counseling service available. And typically those are free services. Those are not something that you have to pay for. Depending on the university, they might have like 10 free sessions, and then they might start using student insurance. But for the most part, those are things that are provided universally at those college campuses. So you're going to find those at your student services, the admissions. You're going to be able to see them online if you just do a search in the search engine. And those are pretty typical things. It would be pretty typical as you're moving into adulthood to want to seek those services, either to just reflect and see how you're doing in life, or maybe you're having some struggling, maybe you're having relationship problems, maybe you're doing some long distance things, and you're finding that you just need that extra help and support. It's really not about the label of mental health or you getting extra help. It's really just a person that's trusted, that has some unique skills that would be able to help you reflect on what you really want and how to get to your goals.
That's great. And know that both of us are still available to work with you guys after graduation. And for you upcoming seniors, we are always a resource to point you in the right direction and to get the help that you need. All right, next topic, healthy relationships. What does a healthy relationship look like, Mrs. Peterson?
So that's a complicated question, but there's some foundation pieces that you can start off with that will help you kind of determine a healthy versus an unhealthy relationship. So some of those things are just your communication, how you communicate with those people around you that are in your life, and how you problem solve with them. So it is a fact of life that everyone in your life, it's not just going to be you guys are peanut butter and jelly, you're perfect. It's just like this beautiful relationship. It is likely even your best and most positive relationship, you are going to find some conflict. You're going to have some disagreements because each individual is their own person, right? You have your own likes and dislikes, your own habits. So it is kind of a fact of life that you are going to run into conflict. So how you approach that and your attitude going into those kinds of situations really help determine how your relationships go. And so as far as communication styles go, right? There's some people who want to talk out their problems immediately. There's other people that want to kind of sit back and they kind of want to see how it goes. Other people that I've had relationships with will not feel comfortable complaining or saying anything, and maybe they write notes to somebody and leave a note and be like, can you please wash the dishes? Can you please do this, right? So you're going to come up with situations in your life as you're moving into adulthood, and you're going to have to be able to communicate what you need from the relationship and ultimately what works and what doesn't. And being able to identify who you are and how you communicate with that individual will really help. Right? So it's a pretty common thing as you're graduating from high school and you're going into your next steps in life. A typical situation would be that you're going to have a roommate, right? So the number one issue I see all the time, right, is that dishes example. Like, who's going to wash the dishes? Do they need to be done tonight before we go to bed? Or am I going to go out and just leave the dishes there for somebody else to clean, right? So how are you going to handle living with somebody? What are your needs and what are you going to be able to compromise on? So when I'm looking at giving advice about healthy relationships and how that should go for you, it's going to be so individual. You need to be able to communicate what you want, and you also need to be able to listen and be able to provide some support. So being able to compromise is something a skill that you will really be able to benefit from if you go into a situation knowing that you're going to have to compromise, and you might have to change, and you might have to listen to what someone else is saying and be able to come to a healthy compromise.
Right. And that's with all relationships, husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, just friends, roommates. And the roommate one, if you are at college, though this is a little tip, your resident advisor, which is usually an upperclassman on your floor that you live on, can help you resolve issues instead of just saying, oh, I want a new roommate. They can help you do like a mitigation to have you both come together and talk about, what the issues are, and to try to come up with a solution with the help of this upperclassman. Also, you can reach out to your ambassadors that are on campus for help as well. All right. So, we've talked about some things to make a relationship healthy. What is an unhealthy relationship?
And that's a complicated answer too. But I think some things that you can kind of pull as like red flags are when you're being asked to do things that you're uncomfortable with, right? So if you were saying no, or if you were giving a facial expression that says clearly, I'm not okay with this situation, that's when you're going to kind of start seeing, hey, maybe this person isn't somebody that I need to have in my life. Some common examples are that kind of safe examples, I would say, would be if your, roommate's asking you to give somebody a ride that you don't know, you're not comfortable with it, you are saying no, then you need to kind of evaluate that and kind of hold to what's important to you. I mean, that's a key factor. So many people get lost as they're going into adulthood because some of these relationships are circumstantial. Maybe you're not picking your college roommate, right? And maybe they are participating in some unhealthy and unsafe things that you're not okay with. It's okay to go to the adults in your life and say, this isn't working for me. Go to a trusted friend and say, what should I do? And get some advice and some reflection on if this is an okay situation for you to continue on in. So when I'm looking at unhealthy relationships, I'm looking at unsafe situations that you're being placed in, but I'm also looking at your happiness factor. Are you benefiting from having this person in your life? What are they providing? What do you need from them in a roommate or a friendship or a relationship? Are you getting your needs met? And if you are not, if you're constantly fighting, if you don't agree on fundamental things, then maybe you need to evaluate if this is the right relationship with you, or maybe your relationship changed from a romantic relationship. Maybe you guys are better off friends. You can get along in the friend zone just fine. But when it goes romantic, you guys just fundamentally feel differently about things and communicate in a different way. So really this is individualized, but if you keep yourself safe and keep in mind the things that are important to you and hold to your values, you're going to be in a better position to be able to negotiate and have control over who's in your life. I think the big thing is when you have circumstances, right, you're thrown into things and this person just became your friend, you might feel as though you can't say no to them. But the truth is you do. You have the power to say no. And being able to use that power in it doesn't have to be negative. It can just be like, I have other plans. There's ways you can pivot with your communication that make it not be a conflict. That just means like you can slowly kind of, I don't want to say ghost people because I know that's the whole millennial thing, but where you can just kind of take some steps back, right? You do have control over the relationships in your life, even when they're circumstantial. There's always steps you can take to take care of yourself and to promote you having only healthy relationships in your life.
Absolutely. Okay. The hardest question. How do you... You kind of talked a little bit about the ghosting and stuff, but what would be a place that someone who is in a dangerous situation, an ongoing dangerous situation, what are some places they can reach out to for help?
I think a key part of that is having an exit strategy. So who are your back pocket people? Who do you have in your phone right now that you can call when you need help? Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a friend. If you find yourself in an unhealthy situation, I would suggest getting yourself out of it as soon as possible. So who are some people at 2 a.m., if you're on the side of the road, your car's broken down, who are you going to call? How are you going to connect them? Let's say for some reason you can't get a hold of those people, right? You're going to have like an RN mentor at the colleges, but there's also police and emergency services and counselor crisis lines that are available to people at any time, 24 hours a day. So if you are in an unsafe situation where you are completely not safe, you're going to call 911.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You can always use those emergency numbers, but I always recommend that you have some people that are on your emergency that you can just one click, hold down your button, and they're there for you, right? And they can give you advice.
That's awesome. That is great information for all of us. Okay, so I think she has answered most of my questions. I want to reiterate to you guys that we are available to you still to reach out to if you need any help. Mrs. Peterson, any last words of wisdom?
Just keep in touch. You know, we're a public school, so you can come in and seek us out and get advice from us, or come in and talk. Or if you're not sure what to do, we are safe people that you can go to. So keep that in mind. Even after you graduate, we're still here, so we're here for you.
And I want to remind the Tenasket students that Mrs. Ellis is there for you too as well. And make sure that you stay connected. That is big. Stay connected.
Absolutely.
All right. We will see you later.
Bye.